ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be here with you to share with my observations on Chinese economy in this year. I will start with my assessment on the Chinese economy, where we are right now and where we are heading to. Then I will try to spot where the major risks and challenges could be in the new year. So there's no PPT. Second page. 2017 was a good year in economic growth. Micro performance have so far beat market expectations, and the growth momentum of global economy had remains mostly positive. Okay, 这个是这个啊。In last year, generating a wide range of recovery among the US, Europe zone, Japan, and China. Looking ahead to 2018, major organizations like IMF, World Bank, and the OECD predict the global economy will further improve, although the growth rate remain moderate and the volatility will be low. Sorry. While the base case for the world economy is optimistic, next year there are potential risks elsewhere. These include geopolitical concerns surrounding North Korea, instability in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf, uncertainty related to the monetary policy among central banks, and the rise of trade protectionism. Also, there are still many structural and institutional challenges needed to be dealt with, in China in particular. Assuming the global economy continues to be on a track towards recovery, what is my assessment for China in 2018? Firstly, I think the current momentum will continue, and my base case says China's growth decelerating slightly in 2018 from current 6.8 to approximately 6.7. Secondly, the high PPI this year will start to transmit downstreams to the CPI, the core CPI in particular. I predict CPI will increase to over 2% in 2018 from current level of 1.6%. The transmission from PPI to CPI will make the recovery of China more balanced and sustainable. PBOC will maintain or slightly tighten up its current stable and neutral policy stance. Also, I don't expect another round of fiscal stimulations in the context of China's deleveraging policy. The normalization of monetary and fiscal policy shows the market plays a more important role in recovery process. Third, in terms of fixed assets investment, the growth will marginally slow down from current 7.5%. Among the three main categories of fixed asset investment, the government-related infrastructure investment is expected to maintain a relatively high growth rate. My base case being around 15%, slightly lower than last year's growth. Last year was 17. I project that the manufacturing capital expenditure will increase from current 4% to about 6%. And finally, I estimate property investment will cooling down slightly from current 8% to 7%. Fourth, China's yield curve had been quite flat in 2017, which reflect tight short-term liquidity and weak long-term investment confidence. Along with the stable economic growth and neutral monetary policy, the yield curve is expected to be normalized into an upward sloping in 2018. Fifth, China's export will continue to benefit from a steady global recovery in this year. The growth rate of imports will continue to outpace the growth rate of export due to the domestic demand. And therefore, the current account surplus should shrink gradually. Nevertheless, net export as a drag on GDP growth will be marginally reduced in the new year. Sixth, in terms of the Chinese stock market, I think blue chips are still undervalued traded, and now in a position to pick up along with economic fundamentals continue to improve. Among different sectors, while the new economy representing the future of Chinese business, however, the companies related to these sectors are currently traded at a high valuation compared with its global peers. The proposed shifting from approval system to registration system for listing of companies could make the market to revalue the stock related to new economy, since the system contains the regulation premium. As a whole, the stock market will go further up with some volatility this year. Lastly, the Federal Reserve will continue to tighten its monetary policy gradually, and progress in US tax reform will support the US dollar next year. In 2018, the Chinese yuan would remain stable, and control of capital account could be slightly relaxed. However, in the midterm, the yuan is still in the process of a gradual depreciation. While the current recovery has been mostly cyclical, China still faces structural and institutional risks. There are three key structural risks: high micro debt ratio, severe overcapacity in certain industries, and housing bubbles in some cities. Also, there are two institutional risks in China. One is the distortion between the dominant role of government and the fragile functions of the market. Another is the unbalanced development between SOEs and the private sector. Best response to these challenges and risks would be market-oriented reform through a combination of tax reduction, capital deleveraging, and macro-prudential measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Qin, for laying out the outlook for the Chinese economy in year 2018. That certainly should also lay the ground for discussion later on. We have a little bit of time to entertain 1 to 2 questions if the audience wishes to raise with Mr. Qin. Anybody want to? I'll count 3, and if not, I'll ask. Yes, please, this gentleman.
Minsky. It is one of the important job that undertaken in Chinese financial industry to try to avoid the systematic crisis of financial industry. I think one of the job we have to do is for the off-balance sheet loans and all these assets to be normalized. Another thing is the capital adequacy ratio should be maintained. The newly established committee, Financial Stability Committee, is now taking place, and they were try to implement some ideas like the micro-prudential policies. All these things try to set up a more stable and more effective business industries.
Another question? Yes.
In the speech, you mentioned that in terms of Chinese stock market, the blue chips is still like undervalued and probably will improve along with the fundamental improve. So how about what are the financial structure reform we can expect to bring maybe more foreign capital into the Chinese stock market? Thank you.
I think it's a process of further opening, which already happened. For instance, we now allow the more shares, even wholly owned foreign security firm. So you'll see, starting from this year, they start to implement the next step, opening up for financial industry from China. I think it's an ongoing process. You can expect that it's a further opening up in a couple of years' time.
5, 4, 3, 2, and...
Thank you very much, Mr. Qin. Please join me in thanking Mr.